What is up, everybody? We are officially live.
It's more organized than usual.
Slightly. Not much more though. But
Well
yeah,
done.
we're here. We thought it would be fun the night before the draft to just do some more rookie mocks, you know? It's like one last hurrah before everything that we think we know just goes up in smoke before our eyes tomorrow night and Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, it's legit like the last time you can speak confidently about any kind of take with no consequences.
Yep.
Right now. This is before the NFL tells us we're idiots or maybe we know something actually. This is the chance. Get it all out.
My last night to draft Braylon Allen in the first round if I wanted to.
That hasn't been a good idea probably since this whole process started.
Well, we did that last year. I think we did something around this last year, like right before the draft, and I was still like, I'm taking Sean Tucker late first.
I remember. Yeah, I'm still upset. Sean Tucker didn't get. I mean, he didn't get drafted. He didn't do a damn thing. Like by week 4, I was like, okay, yeah, he's fried. He's absolutely fried. So maybe it can't be that bad, right? Like it can't be worse than Sean Tucker.
No, it can't be. But it still might not be pleasant.
I think he's a day 2 guy. Was it Daniel Jeremiah who was talking about, day 3 or day 2, round 3 is going to be the sweet spot for running back this year. I only think we get 2 guys in second. I'd be shocked if we got more. Benson and Brooks.
I think, round 3 was kind of a hot spot last year for the 23 class. That's where we got Bigsby and Achan and Kendre. One other guy might have made the list. I'm not.
Tajay Spears. Spears the third.
Yep.
Tyrion Davis-Price a couple of years ago. Trey Sermon.
Yikes.
All the failed 49ers running backs.
Roschon was like the second pick in the 4th round. That was a good one.
Yeah, so I mean, dude, the 3rd round, we should probably just look at the 3rd round in general because I feel like we get so many misses out of the 3rd round. Because it's technically day 2, but it just feels so much worse. I don't know why. It may just be in my head from like an optics thing, but it feels
that was something that came out from the rookie hit rate video that I just put out.
That's why it's in my brain. Thank you. Yes.
Yep. Is because especially more recently, like the NFL has been treating the 2nd round more as like the 1st round for running backs, unless there's like this massive generational talent like Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs. So where now like if you fall to the 3rd round, that's just kind of for running backs, like it's not really all that much different from the 4th round and not all that much different from 5th and 6th and the rest of day 3, so
yeah, it's depressing, and I will continue to fall back on just saying round 3 is good, but I know it's not anymore, which is even worse. But anyways, all of that aside, we got a mock draft.
Boom. We do have a mock draft.
How many spots do we have left? Well, we have six slots here.
So this is the plan. This is the plan for tonight. Where I think we typically do at least 2, possibly 3. We do at least 1 super flex, one quarterback, and then we see how kind of time goes. And if anybody has any questions as well too, you can drop some stuff or comments or anything like that. But definitely join the mock draft. I've thrown the link into the chat. It's on Sleeper, so just hop in on Sleeper, claim a team, and when all 12 spots are filled, the other 6 that are remaining, I'm gonna start the draft, and we're just gonna go, and we're just gonna see what happens.
I mean, even if we don't fill it, we can run and we can do as many of these as we want. That's the beauty of us having full control over this. We can kind of we can run them. So I don't think it's a bad idea if we want to just get started here in a minute. While we're waiting, throw questions in the chat. Throw rookie questions, trade questions, prospect stuff, anything like that. Just toss it in, and then we'll get running here in a minute.
Yeah. Yep. I see people are scared of taking 1 and 2. I don't know if that's just they want to try to do something else because they know who 1 and 2 are.
1 and 2 are boring at this point in the cycle. It feels like there's no scenario where it's not some version of Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. But there shouldn't, at least in my mind, there shouldn't be a scenario where those are not the first two picks.
Now, as Jonathan asked, if Marvin Harrison Jr. goes 101, who are we taking at 102?
Caleb Williams, happily. Like, I'm thrilled if that's the break.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, Caleb to me is my surefire 101. I've seen way too many people contemplating and trying to move to 101 just to take Marvin Harrison. But to me, there is a larger gap between Caleb and the rest of the quarterbacks than there is Marvin Harrison and the rest of the wide receivers. So I'm taking Caleb Williams at 101.
Completely agree. Just from a safety standpoint, like I think Williams, yeah, he should be the safest prospect. I think that should be the general consensus. Like there are for sure going to be people out there that disagree with that, and that's fine. But logically, I just don't see anything that makes him not have maybe not the highest ceiling, because Jayden Daniels, ultimate ceiling, we know what that is, but highest floor ceiling combination by a mile.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like we talked about this in the mock that we just put out this morning, where we said if you hit on quarterback, that is a greater return on investment than hitting on any other position in a Superflex league. I mean, wide receiver is the second best position to hit on, but quarterback, if you smash on one of them, and especially at Caleb's current value, where he's kind of like a back end QB1 in Dynasty, where you can, if you're able to get him there in a rookie draft at his cheapest that he'll ever be, then he has a chance to ascend into the top 5, if not even the top 3 in the next year or two. And that's a better investment than Marvin Harrison, who's already a top 5 wide receiver.
Which is, I agree with it. Like, it's crazy, but I fully am on board with putting Marvin Harrison there. All right, we got a full draft. Let's run it.
Before anybody leaves, hurry up and do it.
Also, Superflex is mock 1. We'll go 1 QB in the next one, because I think that's actually really interesting this year.
Yeah,
more so than others, just because the year with Kenny Pickett was it was the same draft, nothing changed.
It was the exact same draft.
It was just such a waste.
Justin says Jayden Daniels 101.
I get the ceiling argument, I get the excitement there, but if I have the 101, I'm not taking that level of risk when there's a player in Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison there that have equally like high game breaking ceilings to some degree. I'm not going to take that level of risk. For me here, though, say that again.
At the 103 ?
So I'm going to basically mirror what we did in our combined rookie mock. I'm going to take Malik Nabers over Jayden Daniels. Again, I don't think I get the appeal on Jayden Daniels. I get the rushing upside, but I like the smaller range of outcomes for Malik Nabers, given that I think he's probably going to be a top 10 dynasty wide receiver by like week 3 or 4 this year. Like he may be that coming out of the draft. So I'm all in on Malik Nabers at the 103. I don't have any issue with somebody though taking Daniels or Odunze at that spot too. I think all of them deserve to be in that conversation.
I agree. Navigating that is going to be really, really important this year too. Navigating how you feel about these prospects in this 3 through 6 range, how your league mates feel about these prospects. And then even while the draft is happening, being able to react quickly enough that if you see Nabers and Odunze are 3 and 4 and a quarterback has fallen, how are you able to trade up and get a quarterback or vice versa? If Nabers starts to slip, I think out of all of them, Nabers has the least likelihood of slipping, but if he does, or if Odunze is falling to 7, navigating all of that in rookie drafts is going to be extremely important this year to add value.
Yeah, real quick, the top 8 that almost feels penciled in at this point.
Yeah,
like the top 8 players, it is some combination of the 8 guys you see here, and likely with McCarthy almost always being like the bookend 108. I don't really see him going higher because obviously what Bowers brings, what Odunze may, that whole group we've talked about extensively already. They are so freakishly talented. They deserve to be there. The McCarthy just feels like the next high upside pick with a good chance of hitting. Like that's the other part. Like Brian Thomas, this next group of wide receivers, they all have their own issues here. And I think McCarthy, just because he's a quarterback, the value feels safer when you're going from a value perspective.
Yeah, especially if he's a top 5 pick. If he ends up going that route, even if he's top 10, he's still safe. But a top 5 pick is going to have enough of a leash, immediately to be given success to where you could probably still cash out even after a bad or even semi mediocre rookie season, assuming that he does start the majority of the year. You could still probably cash out if you don't like what you saw for another first next year and just kind of re-roll the dice.
For sure. I mean, that's like you can cash out on Bryce Young right now, and he had an abysmal year. You're not getting anywhere near the same value. Like that ship has completely sailed.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always somebody that's willing to buy in these guys. We had people buying Zach Wilson well into his second season. Sam Darnold, Justin Fields. I mean, granted, he's, I think, a different tier of because he was actually useful for fantasy. But you can always cash out on these players to some degree. Very few just completely flame out and lose all value like by this week 1 of year 2. That almost never happens.
I do, before we talk about what happened at 110 here, I do want to just talk about
I was
109 real quick.
waiting
This is something that I think I've been coming around to more and more, not coming around to, but I've been realizing more and more as we get closer to the draft. The 1.09 might be a very vital pick as well in rookie drafts because it's going to give you the pick of whoever ends up being the best out of this next group, which might, you normally don't really want to be at the top-ish kind of tiers or in the middle of tiers especially, but the 1.09 I think might end up separating itself as either a pick in its own tier or potentially even the bottom of, like, we call it 8 right now with JJ McCarthy being inserted into the top 8. It might be considered a top 9 because you're going to get the Buffalo Bills wide receiver or, the Chiefs wide receiver or whoever it is. 9 might be a very important pick too in the drafts.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And honestly, I think for me, it's Brian Thomas, not no matter what, but pretty damn close to no matter what. I think he's going to go well ahead of the next group of wide receivers. Like he could go in the teens and the next guys are going to go back, top or bottom 24, in the first, something like 24 to 32. You know what I'm trying to say there? So like, oh God, Jonathan Brooks. Love Jonathan Brooks. He's still my RB1. If he doesn't have a torn ACL, he is a first-round pick in Dynasty. And there was the talk of him being a first-round pick in the NFL draft if he doesn't tear an ACL. So I get the love for Trey Benson. I like Trey Benson. I think long-term, Jonathan Brooks just has a different kind of ceiling.
Do you want to talk about 110 here?
You're lower on Lad McConkey. You're all the way out on McConkey. The route running's pulled me back in. I will the injury concerns are real. The production or lack of production is some of the worst. It's absolutely terrible. The man can run routes, and if I am anything, I am a sucker for good route running, which is why these poor production profiles and Addison Mitchell, Lad McConkey, I like them, but I get the concern there.
It's a quote I keep going back to from one of my favorite movies of all time, Moneyball, where Brad Pitt literally says, if he's a good hitter, why doesn't he hit good? Like if Lad McConkey is so good, where are the numbers? Why doesn't he produce?
Stetson Bennett is probably a part of it.
Stetson Bennett threw for over 4,000 passing yards. And Lad couldn't even get 800 of that.
Man, Brock Bowers is there. Here's the thing. I don't think Lad's a 1. I don't think he's a 1 at the next level.
He's definitely not.
Right. I don't think there's any scenario where he should be treated as a 1 because Brock Bowers was very clearly the 1. Mm-hmm. That's not to say he didn't play against with other talented players in Addison Mitchell, in Jermaine Burton, Brock Bowers. There's plenty of talent across that Georgia team. So the concerns are very, very real. It's when it comes down to him or Xavier Leggett, I know a lot of people are probably going to be debating. I will gladly take Lad McConkey over Xavier Leggett without even thinking about it.
I will not even think about it either. I am gladly taking Xavier Leggett.
But here's the thing. Xavier Leggett in the second is a lot more tolerable. It's a lot easier to stomach than Lad McConkey at the end of the first. I get that piece. But in that range, Who are you? I mean, you're probably taking everybody. We're looking at on the board over him there, right?
Yeah, we haven't. Well, Ricky Pearsall in the mid-second, I think is kind of crazy. But every single receiver on the board right now, I would take Ladd McConkey over, or I would take over Ladd McConkey. I'm sorry, every single receiver on the board.
The only one left for me, I'm taking over McConkey. I'm taking Jalen Polk. I like Jalen Polk.
What about Corley?
No, I'm taking McConkey over Corley.
I like Roman Wilson too. I like the discount of Roman Wilson on Ladd McConkey because I feel like they're very similar players.
I do not care for Roman Wilson.
I mean, I don't care all that much, but when you get him at a 2-round discount to McConkey, it's not going to matter.
But the thing is, like Roman Wilson, undersized, extremely poor route runner. Like it's just, it doesn't line up for me. Like anything that I'd be excited about, he's going to be limited to the slot. And if I'm going to be taking a guy that's stuck in the slot, give me Malik Washington, give me Jacob Cowing, give me both of those two over Roman Wilson. And I don't, like, that's not close for me. The NFL is probably going to tell me I'm wrong, and those guys are going to go way later than Roman Wilson. I do not care. I'm not going to come off that.
I will not argue Malik Washington hype.
I know you love a Malik Washington. I also owe Jordan full credit to putting me on to Malik Washington. So I like a Malik Washington. I like him in the third here. And then once you get to the third, pick your favorite player. Like I don't think there's a wrong pick in the third because you can look at all these guys and make a case. I will say Jalen Polk and Malachi Corley started the third is incredible. Like, to me, that's incredible value right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there's still a few names on the board. Like I'm trying to see if one of my guys is gonna fall all the way to me. I doubt it, but there are still, like 2 or 3 names on here that I am desperately trying to get in this third round.
Yeah, we glazed over this. Troy Franklin.
Oh, fantastic value.
He has slipped further and further. I think he slipped for you though, further and further. Like from where we had started the season, when we started the first mock draft we did, all those months back, he was your wide receiver 4, was he not?
Yeah, he was closer to Odunze than everybody else. And then, but yeah, he started to separate. He's my 5.
Behind Brian Thomas.
Behind BTJ. Yep. He still had Adonai and Worthy and everybody. Because the analytical profile is amazing. And I think that he offers a lot as a 1B. I think he could be the 1 in an offense. But I think he profiles more as a 1B. Kind of like Devonta Smith is literally my comp for him, where he could be the 1, but he operates also extremely well, maybe even better because of the efficiency, because of being the 1B.
Yeah. So the one I think I threw out all those months back was Robbie Anderson. And I saw somebody throw that comp out, and I was like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like early Robbie Anderson, if he had quarterback play, would have been a solid 1B. Like I don't think that's a mean thing to say. I think it's realistic. Like if he hits that, you're not happy, but you're also probably not you're not pissed at early career Robbie Anderson.
No, I don't think so. I mean, didn't he had almost 1,000 yards, or did have 1,000 yards, or
I had to look up the stats again, because those are not top of mind.
He had 941 and 7 in year 2.
Yeah, sorry, Robbie Chosen. That's my bad.
Then he had 1,000 yards in his first year in Carolina. That was year 5, but he did have 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, and he would have had. He left the game early, and he would have been over 1,000 in that range year 2. Like quarterback play always held him back, and then speed and injury took the rest of it. But he had a chance to be something. Troy Franklin could be that. Hopefully, he's better. Roman Wilson's still on the board. Love that.
All my players went.
No, you were just gassing up Roman Wilson. Go get him.
No, I am. I'm going to take him. 2-round discount. I would prefer one of these running backs that went here, but
right. Will Shipley has flown so far under the radar. His name is it's not mentioned by anybody. I don't see it at all. And that's wild compared to where we were 2 years ago. With the hype coming on Will Shipley after his freshman year.
After his sophomore year, he was in my range to be a top 3 running back in this class. And I mean, he really his 2023 season was not terrible either. You know, like it was definitely not comparable to what he did in 2022. But I mean, he still was very, very good. One of the best running backs in the NCAA. I mean, 800 yards, another 250 receiving, 7 total touchdowns. Like that's not bad. It just wasn't what he was as a sophomore.
It's just a massive letdown.
Yes.
That's kind of the problem. And just looking through the rest of the board. So after you take Roman Wilson, Jermaine Burton, if he can just not be an absolute head case and can be coachable and doesn't have another incident with a fan or he hits somebody, like does all these stupid ass things, Jermaine Burton he's a top 5 wide receiver on pure talent. Just pure talent alone. I'm telling you, Jermaine Burton is probably one of my favorite 3rd round picks. Again, Jordan making smart picks here. I think that is just fantastic.
Well, kind of smart picks.
Here's the thing. Jordan has gone.
Brock Bowers in the run game were paths to winning. So what you're saying is Ladd McConkey's not good enough to be an integral part of a team's offensive game plan to win games. That's what you're saying.
The fact that you guys are about to do this over comments in the live stream, I dislike tremendously.
Jordan, do you know Emmanuel Sanders had 4 horrendous years to start in the NFL? You know why? Because he wasn't that good. And when he was on a team with actual good NFL wide receivers, like Mike Wallace and Antonio Brown,
Thomas,
he didn't do anything. Well, it took him going to be with one of the best quarterbacks of all time and one of the most prolific offenses of all time as the wide receiver 2 to finally do something. And if you look at his splits with and without Peyton Manning, they are amazing. Like that's literally what it was for Emmanuel Sanders. And like Sanders is not a bad comp. Like athletically, they are like basically the same person. But like to say that Emmanuel Sanders is like a great outcome, NFL wise, and I get it from a play style comparison. I get that. But like when you're comparing play style, Emmanuel Sanders already like showed that you need a very specific situation in the NFL to succeed at that play style and at that athleticism. So I get the comp, but I don't like the comp either. I think that's if you really want Ladd McConkey to be something, I think you should find something else.
So I don't want to rehash Ladd. We'll have a whole other mock draft where we get to talk about Ladd McConkey.
Dude, I'm gonna be crushed. So if he does something, I'm gonna be crushed harder than I was for that one season of Dameon Pierce. And then he faded off into oblivion. So I was simultaneously right and wrong. But if Ladd McConkey is like a perennial top 18 guy, I'm gonna be destroyed.
It's gonna go that's gonna happen to me with Xavier Leggett for sure. The Keon Coleman slip into the end of the second. I think people have kind of wisened up to that profile.
I think it's still that's solid value for him though.
It's fine. I'm fine. I'd rather take Keon Coleman over Roman Wilson. Everybody other than probably Polk, Corley, and Burton. I'll take those 3 over Coleman, but otherwise that's about where he belongs, I think. We didn't even talk about Penix going in the second, like early second. Michael Penix is
if he is a let's not even say that the rumors are true that he's going to be like a top 6 pick or something like that, but if he is a top 20 pick, if Denver goes for him, if Vegas goes for him, somebody like that, where does he slide in Superflex drafts?
For me at the earliest. So yeah, Benson, Brooks, both of them ahead of him. I'm taking Franklin ahead. I want to see where those last 3 or last 4 running backs land. Like that's going to be a large indicator as well in like a Corum, Allen, Wright, Lloyd. But he's in that tier for sure after Benson and Brooks. And then like there you can start to consider him just because the value on quarterback in Superflex. I'm not going to be excited to draft Michael Penix in the middle of the second round, but that's where he's going to go.
Yeah. I don't think he'll ever be a first round pick for me. Him and Bo Nix both. If they are first round rookie picks,
Bo Nix.
I can't do it.
Bo Nix shouldn't be anywhere near the first and doesn't look like he's going to get there, even if he's a first round NFL draft pick. One, I have a nice future on him not being that, so I'd be furious if he's a first round NFL draft pick. And two, I don't think he even belongs in anywhere near the first round conversation Superflex drafts. Not even close to it. If he ends up being great, I'll happily eat crow, but I do not think Bo Nix is a good quarterback.
I don't think either one of them are good quarterbacks.
Speaking of bad quarterbacks, Rattler, Milton find their way into the fourth. They're going to go higher post-draft. Somebody will take a shot on them in the third. Rattler in the second. I think he ends up going much higher once you know where he actually gets drafted.
All right, I'm cooking up a one quarterback mock that I will send the invite link here to as soon as Justin picks a spot.
I haven't looked. I wasn't paying attention. Just calm down. I'm gonna go right in the middle. I'm gonna go somewhere weird.
All right. So here is
my longest running league is a 1 QB Dynasty league. And it's it's the only 1 QB Dynasty league I have left. And having to think about it from a rookie perspective, the context switching screws with me so much. I have 104 and I'm like, oh, sick. Really not, because I miss out on the top 3 wide receivers.
You have Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, I was like, great, fantastic. Can't wait. Yeah, Brock Bowers, welcome to the team, baby. I can that's an auto pick. 104 for me at that point.
We have a couple questions in here that came in from the mock, the Superflex mock that we were doing, and then we will start this draft because it's filling up quickly. Christian's asking in a 12-team Superflex if he has the 101 and 106, and his quarterbacks are CJ Stroud and Tua. Are you still taking Caleb? Would you go Marvin Harrison? He's in a very deep rebuild as his best wide receiver is JSN.
Yeah, I don't consider Tua a top 10 quarterback. I'm taking Caleb at the 101. Tua is a really good 2. I'd still shoot for higher. I'd be happy to look to flip Tua and keep Caleb, or even flip the pick rather than go Marvin Harrison Jr. there. I think you can get more value out of it.
Yep, I would still take Caleb if you remain on with the pick, but I would try to see if you can get a haul for it. There's a trade in the trade show tomorrow that is the 101 for Jordan Love, the 109, and a 25 first. Someone was able to pull that off. Now, you might not necessarily get that big of a haul, but if you get something similar to that and to help you rebuild by spreading out Caleb's as an asset into 2 or 3 individual assets that could gain a lot of value, and especially if one of them coming back is a solid QB as well too, that might be more beneficial for you as a deep rebuild. Other than that, though, I would take Caleb, and then you'd probably end up with Odunze at 106.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with that. Also, we got 1 slot left in the draft. If anybody wants
104.
To pick 104, if you want, this is your opportunity. We've been doing this for so long now, I feel like, and it's just, I know where I think players should go, and I need the NFL draft to dramatically shake that up. I need the NFL to tell me I'm stupid, because I'm feeling far too confident.
Matt has an offer to trade away JSN and the 106 for the 102 in a Superflex league. So if we assume that that's Marvin Harrison, would you trade away JSN and the 106 for him? I am.
Odunze and JSN for Marvin Harrison?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I'm doing it.
I don't think I am. I'm not out on JSN.
If it's somehow Caleb Williams, you are absolutely doing this. If they go Marvin Harrison at 101 and then Caleb Williams is the 102.
Yeah. Well, yes, because he's generally my 101 in basically every league.
I'm doing it for Marvin Harrison. I'm willing to make that upgrade.
I'm not. I am sticking with JSN and run with Dunze or Drake May, whoever falls there, whatever it may be. You can get Jayden Daniels there. You can get Drake May there. I think you have a lot of flexibility at the 1-6. There will be leagues. I don't think Daniels will fall there as a consensus, but there will be leagues where he falls for sure because there's a lot of people that hate Jayden Daniels. So I'm good. I'm good with that trade for JSN in the 106.
Why Justin Handsome?
A lot of people are asking. It's a question on people's mind, the topic of conversation.
It is. Hey, we still have one slot left in this. Caleb, I see you in here. Take the 104. Oh, it says Superflex. It's the stupid sleeper league.
I don't like that my background gives that away. Like, that's terrifying. Yeah, I moved like 2 weeks ago. You watched 5 moves to make. You would know this. Unbelievable, dude. Can't trust Caleb at all.
All right, I'm going to throw this up.
Share the screen. Start it. There we go. There Caleb is.
Caleb. I'm still mad at Caleb. He knows why, but I'm still mad at him. All right, let's go. One quarterback. The invite link might have said Superflex, but this is a one quarterback league. Oh, crap.
Yeah, now I'm putting it in the chat on Sleeper as well in case they tuned out of this.
One quarterback.
So for you, I mean, what do you like your first 4, Chalky?
Yep, it's the top 3 wide receivers, and it's Brock Bowers. There it is. Oh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
You will see Odunze go there.
It's so landing spot dependent because especially if Arizona or LA trade back, so much could happen for these wide receivers because that means that a quarterback's going in, the other team probably then takes Marvin Harrison, and then it's a complete free-for-all to figure out who's going to get Nabers and Odunze. It could be the Giants. It could be the Bears. It could be another team trading up.
Bears
I really hope the Titans don't take one, but watch that be the stupidity that happens for us for Dynasty.
No, I'm blocking in Joel. At this point, I'm just cheering for bets. Joel under 7.5. He's going to the Titans at 7. Rome Dunze is falling to the Bears over 8.5. We're just gonna start. The board's gonna fall how my bank account needs it to fall. So
Okay,
that's where I'm at. But let's say this. Let's say Nabers goes to the Giants. Odunze goes to the Falcons.
It's Nabers.
Nabers?
Yeah.
Odunze goes to the Bears.
Nabers. See, contrary to popular belief, I believe that the Giants is actually a decent landing spot for a wide receiver. So
interesting.
From a volume,
long term, I think it will be because
it's a volume perspective. They're immediately going to walk in and see like 130, 140 targets.
That's so true. that's spot on. My wide receiver 5, 80 Mitchell, baby. But no, so yeah, like Nabers, worst case scenario, he has 1 year of Daniel Jones. Or best case scenario, he's 1 year of Daniel Jones because the Giants are likely picking top 5 again next year.
Probably.
They are not a good football team. They are objectively a very bad football team, and they're going to be even worse next year, I think. So he has a good chance to just get like a high-end rookie quarterback in 2025. And then again, the situations, they change so quickly. And getting so bogged down in like being tied to a bad quarterback is usually overblown because if they're truly that bad, they're probably not starting the next year anyways.
Mm-hmm. Although the 2025 rookie class does not look to be the greatest for quarterbacks.
I like Shedeur Sanders. I think he'll be fine.
I mean, if he's the Giants would have to pick really high. They'd have to pick probably 1 or 2. If Sanders is that good, you know? I mean,
I think they will.
I mean, again, yes, it is entirely possible.
I think they're picking right up there again. So here's the swing on Troy Franklin. 1-7 in this draft. Wide receiver 6.
Yep.
I think that's more in line with what you're going to see compared to the Superflex draft we did.
Now, he was the wide receiver 8 in Superflex, but that included an extra running back in there, another quarterback. And
he was fine 3 running backs, wasn't he?
Yeah, all 3 running backs and a quarterback were in there as well too.
So 5 quarterbacks, yeah.
Yeah, translating that over here, like Franklin would have been potentially like my pick at 111 or 112. So yeah, his value definitely got bumped up, even though like wide receiver wise, there wasn't that much of a difference.
I'm laughing at Jordan taking McConkey at 2-1 in the 1 quarterback league now. Like there he goes.
I knew that was his intent. As soon as I saw that he was going 1-on-1, he's like, I know, I'm grabbing Lad McConkey at the 201.
Look, I can't do Lad McConkey talk. I'm done with Lad McConkey conversations. So you look at Brooks, Benson, those 2. Do you see a world where they're not the RB1, RB2 in some order?
No. Somebody else would have to get an insane landing spot. Like if my true wish comes true and that the Cowboys take Braylon Allen instead, like that would be a way that I could see.
Marshawn Lloyd. What if Marshawn Lloyd goes there
to Dallas?
Yeah,
in the second.
He's who I think it was Daniel Jeremiah, who had him as the 56th best overall prospect on his board. Now that doesn't mean anything because he's not on an NFL team, but it's something to think about. People have him very high. I like Marshawn Lloyd. I don't like him that much, but I like Marshawn Lloyd.
It would have to be a landing spot for both of them. Like Benson would have to go to be the backup somewhere. Like I've seen Benson pretty popularly mocked to Cleveland, which I could see that. Like if Brooks goes to Dallas, Benson goes to Cleveland, and Lloyd or Wright or somebody else or Corum goes to the Chargers, like I could see a world where there is now a conversation for who RB2 is in the class. And that probably raises Brooks's value kind of relatively just because there's more solidification in him being the RB1 and has the great landing spot. And it probably drops Benson's value a little bit too comparatively just because we have to wait.
Yeah, you're going to get it wouldn't be a Zach Charbonnet situation because Nick Chubb is much older and coming off injury. Like he wouldn't just disappear.
And on the last year of his deal.
Right. Like it's not that level of catastrophe, but yeah, you're not going to get a great rookie season. It'd be more Javonte Williams alongside Melvin Gordon.
Right. Yep. That's a good comp.
Actually, exactly what it would be. Chubb is much better, hopefully, coming off that injury.
Yep. That's the only way that I see it, though, for running backs at least.
Yep. No, I'm with you on that. Yeah. Is that about where you're taking Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels in 1 QB leagues?
Yes. Yeah. So Caleb, I think I would take Brooks over Caleb. I think that's how I have it ranked currently for 1 quarterback leagues, where Caleb is my 9 and Brooks is my 8. But then I would still take Caleb over Benson. And then Daniels is my 111 over everybody else, just because I like in a 1 quarterback league, it's those elite caliber quarterbacks who, especially with the rushing upside, we were talking about that with Anthony Richardson last year, where like he can actually make a legitimate difference in 1 quarterback leagues because of the rushing ability. The passing stuff would just kind of be the cherry on top, and it wouldn't take all that much for him to just be a top 10 quarterback. And that could be a difference maker every single week kind of starter for you in 1 quarterback. And it's, to me, I think that's worth the 111. And I think that offers a little bit more safety than some of the other players that I took Daniels over in this draft.
Yeah, it's the exact same conversation we said last year, where I think we both had Bryce Young as our QB1. Oops, but we said
not after the draft.
No, not. Yeah, that's fair. We both said in 1 QB leagues, though, we're taking Anthony Richardson first. And the reason is just the rushing upside. You need to be elite from a fantasy perspective. You need to have the elite rushing. You need to have the ability to score points in massive chunks to actually be a difference maker. Otherwise, that's why everybody talked about just streaming quarterback in redraft, Dynasty less so, but because guys in the middle, QB 9 to QB 18 are all the same. Like it really doesn't matter all that much. So you need the players that have the freakish upside, and that's what Jayden Daniels brings. That's obviously what Anthony Richardson hopefully would have brought last year also.
That's it. Do you like my pick of JT Sanders there at the 211? We haven't talked really about the tight end position. I mean, Brock Bowers is his own thing, but I think there's going to be a good amount of conversation to be had after the draft this weekend about what to do with all the tight ends in this class after Brock Bowers, because Sanders has just kind of been penciled in as like a mid-ish second. And then it's kind of like, do you like Theo Johnson? Do you like Ben Sinnott? You know, like
I've cooled on Sanders dramatically. I used to view him as a mid-second. Damn it, Jermaine Burton went. I used to view him as like a mid-second in that range. I'm starting to kind of just lean towards taking him in the third. I'd almost rather take a shot on Corley or Coleman, Jermaine Burton, like a lot of other guys that I prefer going that, because I think Sanders, you're going to have to wait 2 years, 1 to 2, for him to like actually produce at a level that's relevant, and taking that in the second is not all that fun to me.
Now, what if I told you that Sanders was drafted by the Chargers
in the second
on day 2?
A little more intrigued. I'm a little more interested. Like, assuming they don't double tap Bowers and Sanders back-to-back rounds,
right,
or something insane like Hayden Hurst, Mark Andrews a couple years ago,
or Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave.
Exactly, a more recent one even. I think about I take him over Parasol, but like that's still probably about as high as I take him. Actually, I take him over Shipley as well. Then Shipley,
I think I'd
be ahead of Lloyd. At least I don't have him there.
I would probably bump Sanders up to more of the mid-second in this kind of range. I mean, I would probably take him over Polk. I could be tempted to take him over Leggett depending on where he goes.
Oh, I definitely have him over Leggett, actually. Yeah, that bum.
Braylon Allen, depending on where he goes, you know. So now all of a sudden I'm talking about him as a more early to mid-second. And that's assuming that he's on the Chargers on day 2. There are only really like 2 or 3 good to great landing spots for Sanders, to where he could see like an immediate impact. Because I mean, he's been pretty popularly comped to Sam Laporta, but Sam Laporta had a really great situation going in immediately, and there's not really many teams that fit that for Sanders this year, just because of how many tight ends that we have in the NFL all of a sudden.
The NFL, we talked about it on our mock draft. The tight end position, I think we did, at least the tight end position has gotten so busy, which is good. Like that's great, because it's no longer Travis Kelce or bust. Like for a half a decade, it was either you had Travis Kelce or you weren't winning a title. Like there was no in between. And that is just not the case anymore, which is a breath of fresh air. So looking through the rest of the
Thrash.
I don't have thoughts on Thrash.
Jordan's pulling up. Jordan has his guys.
Yes. The McConkey, Coleman, locked him in again. Where are you at with Jalen McMillan? That is a name that keeps getting thrown at me anytime I tweet about like who could be the best wide receiver outside of like the top 4. Or your favorite sleep. Jalen McMillan has popped up time and time again, and I do not understand
it. I think he's solid. As the 309, I mean, I can't really hate anybody for taking anybody this late, you know, because it's just like it's all dart throws at this point. I don't mind McMillan, honestly, and I feel like if he is a later day 2 or early day 3 pick in the right situation, I think that I could see it a lot more too. I honestly like I think Jalen Polk is really good, but I don't know if there's all that much difference between the two of them.
I think Polk is a better route runner, and I think he's more versatile. Like I think McMillan's going to be stuck in the slot. Polk can Polk at least did line up pretty much everywhere in college, where McMillan, he was a slot guy. Like time and time again, he's a guy that just lived in the slot.
Which is funny because they're both the same size.
Right. Exactly. So Polk gives me like Robert Woods vibes. Jalen McMillan, just name an underwhelming slot receiver. That's what he reminds me of.
I think McMillan has the ability. I literally just was going through some athletic comps for McMillan, and like Dontavian Wicks is on that list.
Yeah, but he's like a quarter of the route runner.
That is true. That is true.
Like Wicks is good because he's open all the damn time. Like that's why I like Wicks, especially if we're going like deep wide receivers.
Romeo Dobbs is on that list, like kind of, of like in the same. Like Romeo Dobbs is an inch taller, but they're like the same height. Both those guys are actually slower than McMillan as well too.
McMillan's taller than you'd anticipate because he lives in the slot. You don't expect him to be like 6'1". Like that's shocking to a lot of people.
Right. Who else?
Yeah, you're up. You're up on the clock with your last.
Oh my gosh, I'm up. Oh, Tyler Johnson came up on the list. Rest in peace, Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson, if he had the same career as Tyler Johnson, I would not be all that surprised. There's a moment in time where I thought Tyler Johnson was going to be something.
Oh, dude, he was so good at Minnesota. Across from Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, it was great. It was very fun. And it's crazy. Neither of them are good. What a world.
Hey, one of them got a second contract.
Yeah, I guess Bateman did get extended. He's going to have 70 targets a year, put up 450 to 600 yards. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Cody Schrader.
Why not? Dylan Labe is on that short list as well too. So Troy.
So is Vidal for me. Like,
was Vidal? No, Vidal went. You took Vidal. Okay, because I was like, was Vidal on the list? Because I did not see him. I would have taken Vidal for sure.
Just the little bulldozers that could. The MJD reincarnate. They're going to be the perfect handcuff players, and if they get an opportunity, they might do something with it. Like that's all I'm hoping for there.
Troy wants to know who had the best draft, and then Rampion. I have your question queued up here, but are we doing another mock? Are we want to do another Superflex?
I could run one more Superflex, then I do have to stop streaming.
Unbelievable.
We're looking at best draft. Like best draft in rookie classes, and like rookie drafts is very weird because you typically just would anticipate whoever's in the top like 3 or 4 picks because it's not a snake draft. Unfortunately, Jordan took Ladd McConkey and Keon Coleman, so he is eliminated. But like somebody else, I don't mind. I really honestly like Nabers, Worthy, McCorley as the first 3. I think that's great. Again, not a huge Xavier Worthy guy, but I mean, early second in a 1 QB, I'm more than okay with that. But that's worth taking his chance.
Me personally, I think the best draft was Benson out of the 107, but I am an Xavier Leggett fan. I like Troy Franklin there. I like the value on Leggett here, the 207 in a 1 quarterback league. I love Ray Davis. And then Tez Walker, I think it's a fine 4th round dart throw.
Ray Davis is closer to 30 than he is 18. That's terrifying.
Fine. That's okay. So are we, Justin. So are we.
I'm very, very close. But
Colby had a great draft at the 103.
Ray Davis is gonna turn 26 in 2025.
That's all right. He's gonna burn brightly. It won't be for long, but he will burn brightly.
It will be for 17 weeks. In all honesty, if he lands in a situation where he has a path to like volume, I think he might have a nice year 1 and then immediately look to trade him because there's going to be people that are very confused that he's 25 already. Like there will be people that aren't aware of that, honestly. Like if he had a Dameon Pierce-esque rookie season and then a Dameon Pierce-esque second season, I would not be shocked.
I honestly, as sad as that makes me, I probably would be saying a year from now to trade away Ray Davis if he had a Dameon Pierce level season.
100%.
And that makes me sad.
Also, am I in the right mock draft?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
So here's the Superflex. This one might say one quarterback on it, but this is Superflex.
Superflex for me.
Oh, cool.
I see it.
Cool. All right. We have. He's been waiting.
What is it here?
Oh, Mike, I see your question too. We'll get to that one next. Drampion says, "Hey guys, in my one quarterback, 12-team half PPR start a non-tight end premium league. He has the 4, 9, and 10. Has no alpha wide receivers, but like 5 wide receiver 2s. And by wide receiver 2s, he means Addison, Flowers, DK Pickens, those types of guys. Would you consider moving for the 1.01 or 1.03? And what would you send?"
101, 103. I mean, I'd send the 104 and the 109 for the 101.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if they take it, but I would try for that immediately, like right off the rip. Or try the 104, 110 first. So then you give them room to counter, which they inevitably will do, and they'll feel like they're getting one over on you. Like that's always a good way to go about it.
I would try the. How would you feel about the 109 and
any receiver on that list?
One of these receivers.
Name. I mean, you wouldn't get it with Jameson Williams. No chance. But like, you could do Pickens. I'd be fine with Addison. I'd prefer to keep DK, but
yeah, I think he's the best on the list for me too. I prefer to keep him.
Yeah, I mean, anybody not named DK Metcalf plus 109 or 110 for 103 or 101 is worth it.
There's a world where you can get both of these deals done. If you can get 104 and 110 done for 101, and you add a second or something like that. If you have an extra second or something just to get the deal done, just do that and go get Marvin Harrison. And then go up to the 103 guy and be like, hey, I'll give you the 109 and your choice of Addison, Flowers, or Pickens. Who do you for the 1.03? You want that deal? You might. There is a world where you get both of those deals done, and now you have Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, DK Metcalf, and 2 of those other wide receivers from that list, whoever you didn't trade away. And that's your wide receiver group now moving forward in your Start 8 league.
Yeah, I think that's the path. Now, if you stick at these picks, 104, I struggle taking Brian Thomas.
I think it's got to be Bowers.
I think you got to go Bowers there. And then if not that, try to trade out of it, maybe. But like, it just depends what you can get. Would you send 104 and 109 or 104 and 110 if you can't trade for those picks? Would you send it for Chris Olave?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's about the line. Ayuk.
I'd try it for London. Ayuk.
Oh, for sure. Would I try it for London?
I would try it. No, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's throw up the mock draft board in there. Also, while we're doing this, we have 7 more picks. Anybody wants them?
Is this the right one? This is the right one. Oh, nope. We got there. All right. Mike's question is, would you do the 105 for 205, 206, 207?
105 for
3 mid-seconds. I'm taking the 105.
Yeah, no, not even thinking about it.
Or I would, if you're buying the 105, this is fantastic.
Yeah,
trading the 105, then no.
It's really good, or it's very, very bad.
Yeah, no, this is definitely it's not enough for sure. I think in order to move back from the 105, you have to include another first-round pick in some capacity. If it's a later first, if it's 25 first,
or a proven wide receiver,
or that, yeah, some other veteran that is worth a first-rounder. You know.
Yep. I completely agree.
Olaf says, "Sup, dudes." What's up?
Dude?
Drampion says he only has Komet, so that could be another point in his favor for taking Brock Bowers at the 104 if he does end up.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's fine then. Like Bowers, you're fine to stay because you're still getting a player that immediately improves your team. Or that should improve your team.
Whiskey Traveler saying, speaking of Dontavian Wicks, would you trade away Aaron Jones for the 211 and Dontavian Wicks? Or vice versa? Which side are you taking?
If I'm not an immediate contender, 211 and Wicks. If I need Aaron Jones and he's my RB2, RB3, and I'm trying to win a title, I'll run with Aaron Jones one more year. I will ride that till the wheels fall off.
I'm switching you while I talk. Yes, I agree. I agree with that. If you're a contender and you want Aaron Jones's added depth, I think this is a fantastic price to go get him. But if you're a contender, you have Aaron Jones, I would just keep Aaron Jones. If you are not competing, then I think this is a fine cash out. I would be willing to take 211 and Wicks. I'd like for 211 to be a little bit higher, but I think I would ultimately do it.
Yeah, Wicks is a fun one right now. Like he's a fun player to roster if you can get him in a throw. It's impossible to trade for him in like 1-for-1 deals for fair value, but if you can get him in a throw, it's great. Or as a package.
I just threw the link back in the chat. We have a few draft picks left if anybody wants to draft. Troy is asking thoughts on Kirk Cousins. Is it best to sell to highest? Is it a good time to sell high?
Yeah, that or highest bidder, whatever it is.
Oh,
it's probably. I mean, it's situation dependent. I don't think there's a cookie cutter answer. The safe move is probably just selling the quarterback coming off of an Achilles tear, admittedly. But I don't know what kind of value you're going to get with that. Like that's going to be really league dependent.
I'm trying to pull up where he landed in April. He's still QB 21 in April ADP.
That's so low.
That's really low. But I feel like he could, like, realistically for leagues with hype, he could probably be closer to top 15. That's where like Purdy and Daniels and May are right now. Above Watson, above Goff, above McCarthy.
Yeah, 100%.
I think if you were looking to sell Kirk Cousins right now, I think I would be trying to upgrade. I'd be trying to see what I can do to either get a better producing quarterback or a younger quarterback. And ideally, both.
Would you trade him and say, I'm trying to think, him and
a first round pick for Kyler Murray, done.
I was going to say him in a mid-second for Tua.
I'd probably just keep Cousins. I don't think that's enough of him. I'd be looking at like Jordan Love. I'd be looking at Dak, Kyler. Those would be my three targets right there.
Dak Prescott, best value. Him and Kyler Murray are probably the two best values in fantasy football right now.
Yes, I agree.
All right, you just want to go ahead and start running this in a minute. We have 4 spots left. We'll start this draft in 2 minutes. Whether you join or not, no, we can get moving here. And you got volume on this thing. It's gonna beat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Every damn time.
Thomas asked a question here. I'm assuming, Thomas, you're asking who would we take at those spots?
No, I think he's saying.
I think he said. I think it's Gabe is supposed to be have, and he has the 103, 108, 202. Who'd you guys get?
That makes significantly more sense.
Nope, we're good. Have.
Yeah.
We got there. So 103 is either Nabers or Odunze.
Yep.
More than likely, I think it's Odunze. 108 is
Jonathan Brooks or Caleb Williams if you need a quarterback.
I think Franklin could be a good pick there too, if Brooks is gone or whatever it is. But I think more than likely, if Jonathan Brooks lands to the Cowboys in the second round and he's there at 108, that's my pick.
Yeah, all bets are off.
2.02 is.
I don't even know how to project who's there right now. The quarterbacks introduce such a weird dynamic. All three quarterbacks could be sitting there at the 202, or all three of them could be gone. Like, truly, there is no consensus as to where those guys are going to go in the 1 QB leagues.
202 in our one quarterback mock was Drake May. Right around him was McConkey and Worthy. Corum went 2 picks ahead. Wright went 2 picks behind.
Yeah, I think those running backs Marshawn Lloyd needs to be in the conversation. Like, those running backs to me are where I'm starting to look. If you're not a McConkey guy, if you're not a Xavier Leggett guy, like those, it just pushes those running backs up further. If you like Jalen Polk, maybe.
No, not at 202.
It'd be early. I wouldn't be I would not be happy about it. All right, let's go ahead and start this.
What is this profile picture? Is that Lamar?
It looks to be.
But he's got like Spy Kids 3 goggles on.
Jayden Daniels, yeah. You considering Roma Dunze over him at any point?
Probably not. No, that's Jefferson. Oh, I see it now. With Spy Kids 3 glasses on.
Still makes no damn sense whatsoever. But okay, yeah, no, that's fine. That answered 0 questions for me.
No, it's just Justin Jefferson.
Not a single one.
No, Jayden Daniels to me he's my 1.03 right now. He's going to get drafted in the top 3, if not second overall to the Commanders. Honestly, it's still a debate for me between him and Nabers, honestly. And Odunze hasn't really entered that conversation. Just because I understand that Daniels is a risk, but dude, the fantasy points are just dripping off of a guy with that kind of skill set and profile.
I love that. I agree. To be clear, I agree. He should not fall farther than the 104 in any league.
Yes. Yeah.
Or any Superflex league. I mean,
yes.
Immediately fix that. Oh, Jonathan Brooks.
Brooks got taken.
I think you'll see a lot of Jonathan Brooks at the end of the first.
Yeah. Honestly, I think he could bump up.
It's every year. It's every single year. Damian Pierce found his way there. Rashad White found his way there. Michael Carter found his way there. Year after year, a running back works their way up. Jonathan Brooks is more deserving than all of those guys, but he is going to find his way up there.
Jefferson wore those glasses in pregame warmups, just to give context.
Sure. I mean, yeah, why not?
Nah, they're Spy Kids glasses, bro.
That answers the question, but I still have so many more.
I love it.
I've learned nothing.
I still love it though. It's great.
He's the best. Trey Benson, Xavier Worthy, Penix at the early second again. Okay.
I can't do it. I will not advise anybody here to take Michael Penix that early.
What about
even if he's a first-round pick?
What about Ricky going 1 pick later?
That's also early to me too. Jordan's not here to take Lad McConkey, so McConkey's slipping.
You have to do it, man. You have to stop the fall.
I don't want to, because
you're also going to take Troy Franklin. So
infinitely better wide receivers on the board. Now, if Franklin went at the 2.03, 1 pick ahead of me, then I kind of would have had a decision here. I probably would have ended up taking Xavier Leggett. Maybe I would have taken Jalen Wright. But that would have been a much bigger conversation for me.
Yeah.
If Franklin wasn't there.
I agree. So here's the interesting one. I don't think Corum ends up with the Chargers. That feels too on the nose. But if they end up with, say, a Marshawn Lloyd or someone in that range, where do you go? It's Dobbins and Edwards, who do not scare me.
I'm not even considering Dobbins being there for whatever rookie that they draft. If Marshawn Lloyd is a Charger, Honestly, I feel like whoever the Chargers running back is, if they draft somebody in that third round, early third, probably immediately vaults to my RB3. Right now, that is Jalen Wright, but I could switch that.
Nice to hear that. Nice to hear you say that.
That's where we're at. But yeah, then he would probably be in this conversation as an early second round pick. I wouldn't probably not vault him to the first unless we got like really bad landing spots for the wide receivers.
No, I don't think
But-
there's any. If it's not Brooks or Benson, there's no
Right.
running back I'm taking in the first.
Right. No, there shouldn't be. And we have to be careful of that because that will happen. Like the landing spot bump
Every
is
year.
real. It is super real. And we got to be mindful of it. But an early second round, I would be willing to do it. After these receivers kind of go, like Adonai and Worthy and Franklin, and then that's where I start dipping back into the running back pool.
Yeah, you know what I've noticed is, and it's just everybody does this. I do it myself. Guys I don't like landing good landing spots, happy to bump them up. Guys I dislike fall to day 3 or get the world's worst landing spot. Nah, they're fine. No change. Nothing to worry about there.
Nope,
Like
all good.
Yeah, day 3 is killer. That's it. Like, a lot of these guys we're talking about in the second will not be here because they are going to fall to day 3 in the NFL draft, and we need to, you have to adjust. You have to be able to adjust accordingly. So those are players that that's going to be very interesting.
Brian says the 110 to the 204 feels like the same and feels like a huge trade back spot.
100%. Yes.
And this is what I said at the very beginning. Like the 1.09 is probably going to end up being a very coveted pick because it's going to be potentially even its own tier, if not even attached to the back end of like the top 8. Because you're going to get whoever has the best, most amazing landing spot in the first round. I don't know if I would go as far as 110 because now Brooks might end up being the 109. I don't know. But if we get Adonai Mitchell to the Bills, I feel like he's locked in at 109, and then Brooks to the Cowboys would make him 110. Then everybody else, I think, kind of feels the same. Like BTJ and Worthy, I'd imagine, are still first-round NFL draft picks. You get wherever Benson goes. You get.
I don't know if Worthy gets to the first.
I think he's in the first in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he's early second.
But
we'll see. Either way, it's not relevant to anything we're talking about.
But that still makes it seem like that whole entire glut is all just the same, to where it might be more beneficial that if you have one of those draft picks, you just try to trade back, pick up an extra second round pick. So then maybe you could take a shot on, a Jalen Polk or a Malachi Corley or, a Marshawn Lloyd or somebody like that. If you get 2 shots instead of just one in the late first, early second, that's probably going to end up being better. Give you 2 shots to hit.
Yeah, I have a trade question for you. I'm trying to get up to the 102 in a 1 QB league. I've offered JSN the 112 and the 210. Still feels like I'm way low, right?
Yeah, you're off.
Considering it, and we've been going back and forth for like 2 days.
I need another 110-ish piece.
So I offered, just to walk you through it, I offered him Godwin a 2025 first and the 112. Nothing. We're up to JSN. Yeah, he's gonna ask for a second first, and I'm not pulling the trigger.
I don't think I would do JSN in 2 firsts.
No. I'd have to get a pick back. He really doesn't have much. So that's where I'm at, just to walk you guys through my own trade that I would love to get done because I have the 104, and I know I'm not getting a wide receiver. I know it. I'm very mad because I need one desperately.
I'm glad I got Malik Washington in one of these.
Every other time. Dude, Jermaine Burton at the end of the third. I love that pick. I love him there so much. He's just not the world's worst person, which is very. See.
Thomas knew he made the wrong pick.
If Jermaine Burton isn't just the biggest piece of crap, which is not, that's likely he is. But if he's not, he's going to be incredible. I'm so excited for Jermaine Burton.
4th round, tight end range. Ben Sinnott, Jaheim Bell, and Theo Johnson.
Well, two of them are fake.
I love it. I like the 4th round tight end range. I like it.
I've
seen Theo in like the late 2nd in some rookie mocks, or even like early-ish 3rd. I'm like, oh boy.
That's very surprising to me.
And listen, I'm all for it. As a Penn Stater, he can go as high as he wants, but I still think that's crazy.
But no.
But
Javon Baker, thoughts on him in the end of the 4th? He feels like a nice start throw.
No, yeah, I love it. I think if you're looking for a high upside, like potential wide receiver, I think that's Javon Baker. I think that he has really solid upside in like the right situation. I think that he's probably going to ultimately fall to day 3. But I think that he's somebody who talent-wise could ascend depth charts. And I think that he could be one of those guys that, it happens every year in the preseason. We see some like ridiculous highlight, and then now his value is getting bumped up and you can trade him for like multiple thirds or even a 2nd round pick. And I think that could be Javon Baker this year.
Yeah, I agree. The profile is nice. The production is not ideal, but it wasn't ideal heading into this final season, but it's ultimately going to be, he's going to be interesting. He's very landing spot dependent, and I'm just mentally prepared for him to go on day 3 already.
Let's rapid fire a couple of these questions, and then we got to call it a night here and wish y'all a fantastic Thursday night. But Benjamin,
real quick, we'll see everybody Friday,
1 p.m. Eastern time. First round reactions. But Benjamin says, hey, fellas, I know this is a risk considering we don't have landing spots yet, but would y'all send Jayden Reed and Evan Ingram for the 1.07 in a 12-team Superflex league? Yes.
So Reed and Ingram for Bowers, most likely.
Or Odunze. Yep.
Or Drake May.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next.
Yep. I love Evan Ingram. I really like Jayden Reed, but one singular better prospect is going to be better than that.
Yep.
So this is Mike's whole entire situation with the Kirk Cousins thing.
So every pick. Okay.
So this is what I mean, though. Like, I feel like if you're able to swing Kirk Cousins, and I would try one of those early seconds. Like, I'd try Cousins in the 201 for Kyler, see what happens. Then I'd go to 110, and then I'd go to 109. And then you can start at 203 and just work your way up the board. Or if it's Cousins in 205 and 206, I'd do that too.
Yeah. I'd agree.
Yeah. And then you can go up and get Kyler. But he says he has no wide receivers, sold them all. Eckler's his RB1. Kittle and Schultz are his tight ends. You are really hoping that you hit on a lot of these draft picks.
There's a lot of dart throws. You'll probably 2 of them got to be good, right? Like that's the assumption.
Right. Yeah, you should be able to get some good names here. I mean, even in a 1 quarterback league, and if it's kind of like a home league as well too, that maybe some people get a little bit more reactionary to the NFL draft, you're going to be able to still get some pretty solid names in these with those 3 first round picks. 201, 202 is like, that's the 111, 112.
I mean, you could, even if you traded Cousins away, like you could still take Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Like you could just take Caleb Williams with one of those picks in the first between 108 and 201 or 203, just to show you can like, oh, Caleb Williams at 203 just because the value, because you have every single pick there. Like you have the ability to just do that and then try to flip Cousins or Geno for a future second or an upside wide receiver or something like that and attach it in a package.
Yeah. So all your picks, based on our 1 quarterback mock that we did, your picks would be Caleb, Brooks, Benson, Daniels, Corum, McConkey, Worthy, Wright, Braylon Allen. That's all the players that you just added to your roster.
Kind of fun. Kind of very fun.
That's pretty fun. Just make some good draft decisions, I'd say. And follow Draft Capital. Follow NFL Draft Capital as well, too, if you're trying to decide. Schefter Rapp reported not too long ago that the Cowboys met with Zeke and his agent tonight. What would hold them off? Would that hold him off from drafting one?
I would hope not.
God, I'd hope not too.
Zeke is washed up at this point. Like, unfortunately, he had an incredible career, but Zeke is a borderline nothing in a backfield. Like, I don't care if I run against him as if a rookie has to contend with Zeke. Maybe it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks at the most to fully discard. But
it would be a good situation for Jonathan Brooks from a Cowboys perspective because it allows them to have a running back that they have very obviously a lot of familiarity with. And they could ease in Jonathan Brooks more, but it would be, like by week 7, the scales would have flipped to Jonathan Brooks by now. And then we're talking about Brooks in 2025, year 2 off the ACL, wheels up from there. It should not stop them from drafting a running back. I don't think it would.
No, they'll be fine. They're taking somebody. I think McCarthy even said flat out, I hope we land one of these running backs. Like, I was in a straight up press conference. Everybody's like, oh, I wonder what the Cowboys are doing. Like, they're taking a running back.
Watch them just be like, you know what? First round, we need to guarantee one of these guys. First round, like 27th overall.
Like Corum. Make sure Harbaugh can't get him.
Something
just horrendously stupid.
Big B is rebuilding in a 14-team start 9-1 quarterback. He has the 101, 2, 4, 201, 5, and 12. I guess it's just like, what would you do here? Literally, my only running back is Zach Moss. So he seems to be pretty hardcore rebuilding based on his roster. I mean, he says he's rebuilding, but like hardcore kind of rebuilding based on the depth that he has.
Yeah.
But you're taking Marvin Harrison, you're taking Malik Nabers, Brock Bowers, and then 201, 2. It's hard to predict who those will be, especially
Troy Franklin, Xavier Worthy. Like, one of them will be there. The running backs are going to get bumped up.
It's a 14-team though, so that's like 201 is like 204 or something like that.
Well, you're just taking a running. You might take a running back there, honestly.
Probably
like a Marshawn Lloyd. He'll be in that range.
You might get Jalen Wright.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, you're starting off your rebuild really well with. I mean, you have Amon-Ra and Tank Dell, and you're going to add Marvin Harrison and Malik Nabers to it. Congratulations. Brock Bowers is coming on.
Your rebuild's over, man. Well done. You're out of it.
Benjamin now has the 106 and 107. He took the trade. Let's go. It should be fun. Tomorrow night, it all happens, everybody. So I wish everybody a fantastic draft night. I hope all your favorite prospects. Yeah, it really is. It's Christmas at the end of April, dude. It's fantastic. It's so much fun. I hope all of your favorite prospects go to their best teams. I hope all of your favorite teams land whoever you guys want. I hope if you guys are betting, all of your bets hit. And like Justin said just before, we will be going live Friday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern time for round 1 reactions. And then we'll have a bunch of content, obviously, this weekend and the next week for how these prospects' values have changed, how veteran values have changed. It's going to be really, really fun. And I am super, super excited. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us for the past hour or so to do these mock drafts. We'll see what happens after the NFL draft, see how all these values change. But yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see y'all.
See you guys.